All right, guys. I know, I know, I know, no one's gonna watch this, but finally, part two of the Baldi fan game, like how to make a Baldi fan game tutorial, is here. This is it. Now, you're you're probably gonna want to like delete. If you followed the old tutorial, you're probably gonna want to delete like the project file that you have. You're gonna want to like delete your game right now and like start a new project because that's like pretty necessary for this. But yeah, anyways, you're gonna this is construct, by the way. You're gonna wanna just like search up construct.net and you'll find this. This is the game engine we're gonna be using. So you're gonna want to make a new project. Just call it whatever you want. Like, I don't know, like Bart's house or something. I don't know. Just call it whatever you want. And this right here, this is where we're gonna make our game. This is where it's gonna happen. So you're gonna want to make. I don't want to go too fast, but we're gonna make the player. All right. Just create new object type. Create new object type by right-clicking anywhere you want. Press insert new object. Type in sprite. Click sprite. Choose sprite. And then just like place it down. And you don't really have to like put anything here. Like this is just so that you could like see the player in the editor, I guess. Like usually I just do this. So yeah, I'm gonna make him about this size. This is gonna be the player. You could mess around with the size all you want, but like usually I'd like to keep him about this size or so. So name him player. Give him a behavior by clicking on behaviors. Add new behavior. Car. And make sure to turn on turn while stopped. And now we have a little player that we can control. Except the problem is it's not 3D yet. But this is a start. Now, unless you're making a Baldi game where it's ice physics the whole time, you're probably going to want to mess with the acceleration and deceleration. I usually like to just like set the acceleration and deceleration to just like really high values or something. I don't know. And you could like set the speed however you want. I'm gonna go with 320. And now we're gonna wanna, let's not get to there just yet. We're gonna wanna add a 3D camera. And as you can guess, this is how we're gonna make it so you could like see in first person 3D style. So now we're in the event sheet. This is where all the code happens. You're gonna wanna click on add event, system, then start of layout. This is when it starts. Like if you're making a game, this would be like when the level starts, you know. So now we're gonna want to do 3D camera, look parallel to layout, and then camera X player dot X, camera Y player dot Y, and the camera Z remains to be 10, or I guess however you want it, because it's like the height. It's kind of like the height of your player, so you could set it however you want, but I just like to keep it at 10. And you would want to set the look angle to the angle of the player. Now, because if we started it now, we would just be like seeing nothing but white void. I'm gonna add a 3D shape, and yeah, we're just gonna put that here for now. No, we're not done with this just yet. See, so now we're gonna wanna right click again, insert new object, and we're gonna put in mouse. You have to remember to add things like your mouse and your keyboard and all that stuff for input. You're actually gonna have to insert it into the project. It's not just like gonna work. You have to insert the mouse and the keyboard. So now we add action, mouse, and then request pointer lock. This is so that like because imagine if you were playing the game and you couldn't like fully turn around because your mouse was like hitting the sides of the screen. And see, yeah, so we got the start of the layout part out of the way, where the camera is going to look from the perspective of the player at the start. But now we got the start of the layout part on the way. The camera's going to look from the perspective of the player at the start, but now we have to make it like keep looking from the perspective of the player. But before we do that, we're going to need to add a global variable. So just right click and then select global variable. We're going to name this sensitivity. We're going to set it to like 5. I mean, you can set it to whatever you want, but this is nice for me. And add condition mouse, and then we're gonna make this when on movement, yeah. So now what we're gonna do is we're going to rotate the camera, and now we're gonna wanna put in mouse dot movement x divided by 11 minus sensitivity. And we're essentially going to want to do the exact same thing for y, but mouse dot movement y. Now again, or not again, but okay, only add this to rotate y if you want to be able to look up in your fan game. If you don't want the player to have the ability to look up, then just don't add this. So we're going to want to set this to like 2 and 179, but like you could do it however you like. Now we're gonna wanna go add event, go to system, click on every tick, alright? And then we're gonna do 3D camera, set position to player.x, player.y, and 10. Or however much you want. Again, this is your height, so this is your player's height, yeah. And now we're gonna want to add action, player, then set angle to 3D camera dot camera x rotation degrees. And now, if we press play, we can move around, and it is 3D. Only problem is we're using arrow keys, and that no one wants to use arrow keys. You want WASD, right? Well, let's make that happen. So if you want WASD controls, then you're gonna have to go to the event sheet, add event, keyboard, key is down, W. So W key is down, then player, simulate control, accelerate. And now the player will accelerate when we hit down the W key. And we're going to copy this. And then we're going to make this S. And then we're going to make this break. So now when you press S, you'll go backward like we would want. And now for A and D. So we're going to want to do move at angle, and then angle is player dot angle minus 90, and then the distance can be like however much you want, whatever suits you best. And then we're gonna make this D. We're doing the D key now, and then this is plus 90. So now let's press play. And now we can control with WASD. We have completed the first person controls. Now if you don't want your player to slip and slide all over the place, you may want to like fiddle with the settings and stuff. I'm just gonna like set these to super high values. And now that we have the first person control set up, this would be the time when you could probably start making the map. So I'm gonna put in a 3D shape, and this is gonna be like a wall. Like a wall, yeah. But you may notice when I try to stretch this wall out, you could see, if you wanted to, you could just like copy and paste and kind of just have them lined up like this. Or you could do the method I use is where you're able to stretch it out. But see, when you stretch it out, like the texture kind of stretches out too. So like if you wanted it to loop, you would have to insert new object, insert a tiled background. I'm just gonna quickly make something here. I don't know. Nice wall. And now I could like basically click on this and then scroll down, and then I could set the faces of the object to tiled background. See how it's not stretching anymore? And you can just like set that to like all the faces, you know, as many faces as you want. Now it's more, now it repeats. Now of course you could make a much more better wall texture than I did, but you know, I'm just trying to get through. And this would be the time when you would like start making the map. I'm just gonna, you could just like copy and paste and stuff and like stretch. I'm just gonna make something really simple. And yeah, so this will do for now. It's just like pretty much just a bunch of, it's just like a room and an unfinished hallway here, just for testing purposes and stuff, you know. Now if we press play now, you might notice these walls aren't solid. So we're gonna have to make them solid. Now, make them solid. Here's what we're gonna do. Just like go into any one of them. You don't have to do it on each one of them, because it'll apply to all of them once you do it to one of them. Okay, so just go to behaviors, add new behavior, and click on solid. And now your walls are all solid. So here's the thing. Here's what we're going to want to do. We're going to want to see this 3D shape thing here that I put a while ago. We're going to want to add pathfinding to it, and we're going to want to add move to. You can set the values here, and now here's what we're going to do. Every tick, 3D shape is going to find a path to the player. So we're just going to put player.x and player.y here. And then 3D shape is also going to move along the pathfinding path. Now, let's play. And it does indeed seem that Mr. Dice here is chasing us. And it works. How cool is that? Now, of course, you're probably thinking, hey, I want to do a different kind of movement, like how Baldi slaps. And if you want your guy to move like this, that's fine. Like, you could just like keep him like this and change around the speed values and stuff. But if you want like something more like how Baldi moves, I got you. Alright, so if you do want your Baldi equivalent to just like move to the player like normally and smoothly, and not how Baldi moves, like this, then you don't have to follow this part. But if you do want him to move like Baldi, I got you. Here's what you're gonna want to do. So you're gonna want to add an instance variable to him, Mr. Dice here. You're gonna want to name it speed, and we're gonna set this to like 1. This is basically like the speed of him, how fast he is, you know what I mean. And then we're also gonna want to add this mad, and you could, depending on how your fan game is gonna be set up, I think like you can kind of intuit what this is. But yeah, it's basically just like whether or not he's mad. I'm just gonna set it automatically true. But like if you want a thing where like you get a certain amount of something and then he gets mad, then like you can set it false at first. But I'm gonna set it initially true. So yeah, basically here's what we're gonna want to do. We're gonna go ahead and delete this, and instead every X seconds, every 3 or whatever number you want, divided by 3D shape or whatever its name is, dot speed, and make sure that 3D shape is mad. Here's what we're going to want to do. We're going to want to make 3D shape move along pathfinding path, wait 0.4 seconds, or basically just, the number is basically just like the distance he goes, and then stop moving. And every tick, we're going to want to make sure that 3D shape knows where we are. We're going to want to make sure he finds a path to us. Now, if you want like a thing where he like has to hear you, like hear you open doors and stuff like how Baldi does, which I doubt you probably want to do, you can like make this action trigger at certain points, like when you open a door or something. But we're just going to keep it simple for now so he always knows where you are. Yeah, and that should work. So let's go test that. See? He's moving a little bit. Just a little bit every time. Look. Just like Baldi. Now you may notice he is like a little slow and kind of being weird, so you're gonna want to like turn his acceleration and deceleration to 0 for instant deceleration. Read this, and you can like set the speed or whatever. Like this also contributes to the distance he goes, I guess. So like, I don't know, 500. I'm gonna make him a bit smaller personally, but you could, I don't know. Mr. Dice. Yeah. Bart the Dice. And thing is, we're probably gonna want to put set angle off, because the next part is special. Now, I would use a family to do this, which is when you have like a family of objects, a group of objects, and like you can code it so that this entire group of objects does this or that. But that is a Construct Pro or whatever feature that you have to pay for. So I'm gonna do it the non-paid way, because I'm guessing a lot of you, if you're new to this game engine, you're probably not gonna pay. So we're gonna do it the non-paid way for you. So what we're gonna want to do is right here add a new action, 3D shape. We're gonna want to set the angle towards us. Set the angle towards player.x and player.y. Now, before I press play, I'm going to take off every face except for the right face. And see, what this does is now he kind of like always is looking at us, all Doom style, like Baldi SpaceX. Like you know what I mean? Like he's kind of like always, yeah. Or for more accuracy, I mean, an alternate way to do this would be 3D camera dot camera X and 3D camera dot camera Y, but it doesn't really matter that much. It's kind of the same result either way, I think. Anyways, now you could like you can edit this however you want, just like the right face, only the right face, and you could like you could just add anything here. You could just like put in the sprite for your protagonist. How about a Koopa Troopa? Yeah, just put in the sprite for your teacher guy or whatever. Yeah. Oh no, it's Bart the Koopa. Now, here's the thing. You might say, hey, what if I want there to be an animation for my teacher guy when he moves? I got you covered. Insert new object. Make it a sprite. And now you're gonna wanna add the frames for your teacher guy, like all the stuff. I just have so much random stuff on my computer, but anyways, you're gonna want to like make another animation within this sprite, and this animation right here is gonna be when your teacher guy move, when he go move, when he does moving animation. So how about we're just gonna make like Mario over here like lose his eyes for a second. I don't know. Lose his eyes every time he moves. I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah. You could like add more frames here or whatever, but I'm just like doing an example. We could like add another frame here. Yeah. And so basically you're just gonna apply this to the right face, kind of like we did with the wall. And basically we're just going to want to like play the animation. Or better yet, a better idea would be if it was already on animation 2 and you like start the animation on like from the beginning. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Every time he moves, he loses his eyes or something. Yeah, that's all like I was saying. You could like that. You could. Yeah. Yeah. You could like edit this however you want. Make your animation, your slapping animation, your whatever. And now you might want to add something to collect. You know, notebooks, whatever. And you're going to want to do that by insert new object, 3D shape, and here you're just going to want to put like whatever you collect. Yep, yeah, yellow circle. Going around collecting yellow circles. Just like turn off every face except for the right face. And we're basically going to do the same thing we did. We're just going to like make it face us. Yeah, so we're just gonna like make the object face the camera. Do the same thing, you know. And now to make it collectible, first we're gonna wanna add new objects. Just add a new sprite. And this is gonna be like kind of like a radius of some sorts, like a basically your player's hitbox, I guess. Not the hitbox, but like more like if the player is within a certain range, then he can collect it. So you don't have to be right up in the object's face to collect it. Yeah, like this is like, yeah. So to make this stick to the player, I'm just gonna name it like P radius. I spelled radius wrong, but whatever. Basically, now we're just gonna wanna make P radius set position to another object. Set it to player, and now P radius will follow the player. Follow the player wherever he may go. Yes. And now what we're gonna do is when P radius is overlapping with 3D Sprite 3 or collectible, and we just did a left click, we just clicked on it, then what we're gonna want to do is 3D shape 3, it goes away, never to be seen again. We collected it, basically. Now we're gonna want to add a variable to the player, which is gonna be how many we collect, like, I don't know, orbs. This is like just like how many of the collectible we collected, how many notebooks, how many whatever. Eventually we're gonna get it to like show on the game, but like for now it's just gonna be a variable. Yeah, so we're gonna want to obviously add to the variable whenever we collect. So whenever we collect one, we want to tell it, hey, we just got another one. So now let's go ahead and test that. Let me try clicking on it. Boom. We just collected it. Now, isn't that awesome? Now, you might want to like do a thing with like a mini game, like a math mini game or something, but I'll do that in like another episode or something, another video maybe. But I'm gonna make this way less big because geez Louise. And you don't have to do this if you don't want to, but it just makes it look nice. You could like add a behavior sign, and then make this yellow. Set this to like 10 or something. And see, now it go up and down. Now it like, you know what I mean. Look at that, it looks nice. It's bobbing up and down. Oh yeah, it makes you want to collect it so bad. I'm gonna put this guy over here. Yeah, Bart. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna add the UI. So insert layer above. We're gonna make this the UI. Now also I'm gonna add floor, and I'm gonna add ceiling, and I'm gonna call this main layer. And we're gonna add on the floor layer, make sure it's on the floor layer, we're gonna add the floor. Yes. We're gonna want to make the main layer transparent. Now we have floor, and now there is a floor. And you could do like pretty much the same thing for ceiling. You could do pretty much the same thing for ceiling, but just do make sure that your ceiling is actually like high enough. So I'm gonna set this, the Z elevation, to like a nice 120 or something. I don't know. And that'll pretty much just be like how high up your ceiling is. This number right here or whatever. And you could like turn this off if you want to be able to actually see the map and not have a big ceiling in your face. And it won't affect like whether or not it's visible in the game, because this is if it's visible in the editor. See? And now we can move on to the UI. You want to make sure you set the rendering mode to 2D. Okay. And now we can add whatever we want on the UI, but I'm just gonna add like the text telling us how much notebooks or whatever we have, how many orbs we have. Put it here. For now, I'm just gonna, yeah, now you could see we have our floor, we have our ceiling, and additionally, You know what we also have? Some UI. You know what we also have is this distracting green thing. So if you don't want that to be visible, which I'm sure you don't, just go down here, make it not initially visible. You don't have to see that the entire time if you don't want to. It'll still work if it's not visible. I'm gonna make this say like, I don't know, 0 out of like 125, 0 out of 10 orbs, 0 out of 5, or it doesn't matter. But this doesn't make it work. To actually make it work, we would need to, here's what we need to do. Every tick, set text to, set it text to player dot orbs, and then and out of however many collectibles or whatever, and now if I go ahead and collect this orb, you see that now it says 1 out of 5 orbs. It works. Isn't that crazy, man? So now you could, like, I think this would be around the time when you could, like, start working on the map more, placing the collectibles around, do whatever you want, you know. Now, if you want your teacher guide to only activate when a certain amount is collected, you could, like, do this. You could, like, be like, if the player's amount of orbs is equal to however many, like 1 or 2, let's do at least like 1. If the player's amount of orbs is equal to 1, and make sure to trigger this once, then 3D shape, Bert is going to become mad, and make sure he's not initially mad. Only do this if you like, you want him to get mad at a certain point, you know. Now, see, he's okay right now. Mario's happy. But if I collect the orb, oh no, he mad. And of course you can make the value like 2 if you want it to be 2, or you know, whatever, just do whatever you want. And this is where you can see, this is where we're really starting to come together. This is really starting to come together, you could see. And now what we're gonna want to add is a door. We're gonna want to add doors. Remember, I promised that. So we're gonna make this a door, obviously. Just gonna make a little door texture here. Make sure to put this on main layer, and don't make that same mistake I did. Yeah, make sure to put it on main layer. And you're probably gonna want to change the angle so that the door is actually facing the right direction. That's a nice door right there. You can let's see. That is a pretty cool door. And well, if you want your door to like not have an opening animation, you could keep it like this. But there's a cooler way. Here's what we're gonna want to do. Insert a new object. Sprite. And this is gonna be our door, obviously. That is big a boy. That is a big boy. Now make a new animation, and then this is just gonna be the door's opening animation or whatever. I'm gonna name this a door sprite. So what you're gonna want to do is duplicate door sprite. Alright, and now delete animation 1. Now go over here and delete animation 2. So now we have two separate objects for separate poses of the door. This one is for closed, this one is for open. Now we're going to want to set the faces, make this door sprite closed. And now we're going to want to do something very similar to this. On left button clicked, and we're overlapping the door. If we're overlapping the door, then what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to open the door, obviously. And we're going to do that by setting the face object of 3D shape 4, our door, to door sprite 2. So just like set the right face of the object to the opening pose. Yeah. And you might want it to like be so that you have to actually open the door to go through it. So we're going to make this solid. And then when you open it, it becomes not solid. And then you might want it so that like it closes back up. So you just wanna you're gonna want to do basically the same thing, but make it closed. And then make it solid again. Now we have a door that we can open. Now isn't that pretty mondo and tubular and so cool? Man, that's so awesome, man. Now it's just really coming together here. And if you want to make other type of doors like double doors and stuff, you basically just gotta do the whole same thing. Basically the same process. It would basically be the same process. I mean, if you want a double door that you don't have to click to open, or just any door that you don't want to have to click to open, then what you could instead do is like make it so that basically like on collision with the door, you're gonna want to do the same thing, except like it's just animation and no solid stuff. You would basically do this and have it not have the solid behavior. That's what you would do if you wanted that. But if you want it like in Baldi's Basics where you have to click to open the door, then you'll want to do this. Yeah. So that's something. And now we're gonna add stamina. So the stamina part is where it gets a little iffy. It gets a little complicated here, but don't worry. You're just going to want to import another tiled background. And here's what we're going to want to do. Put a tiny little, just the tiniest strand of green and a little bit of red. And basically how this is going to work is we're just going to like stretch it out so that the green, you'll see. So if I mess with the image scale, make it go up, you might see the green is kind of like going up. You see it's kind of going up. You see what I'm getting at here? You see what we're going to be doing here? Yeah. We're going to use that. We're going to use that. So basically, we're going to want to put in another variable within the player. We're going to make this our stamina. We're going to have it initially be 100. 100% stamina. And basically what we're going to do is whenever the player runs, the stamina should go down. And we obviously also want to make sure that the player goes faster when he runs. So we're going to want to set the max speed to like, I don't know, 700 or just whatever you want your run speed to be. And make sure that we can only do this. Make sure we can only run if our stamina is greater than 0. If our stamina is 0, we shouldn't be able to run. And now you're also going to want to make sure that if we're not running, then our stamina, our max speed should be our walk speed. And now we're also going to want to make sure that if we're not running and our stamina is less than 100 and the player isn't moving, we're standing still, then we're going to want to add to the stamina, like regenerate. And now we're going to want to make it like show up on the stamina bar. So we're going to want to set the image X scale to player dot stamina, and we're gonna do like times 51. Now you might have noticed that didn't really work that well. So you might want to like fiddle with this value depending on how big your stamina bar is and stuff like that, you know. You might want to fiddle with it until it works for you. Now we can go into debug layout and then select player. to see our stamina. Now you might notice we're still going fast, so we're gonna have to fix that by making it so that even if we are running, even if we are pressing down shift, but our stamina is 0. If we're pressing down shift and our stamina is 0, make sure we're at walking speed. And now, when I run out of stamina, I can't run anymore. Now you might notice that my stamina is going down insanely fast. So you're probably gonna want to like fiddle with that. You're probably gonna want to go fiddling with that by editing like this. You're just gonna want to like edit the how much it subtracts from your stamina. So you could just edit this value, maybe like 0.5, and then also edit the regeneration, just so that whatever value you want, which one's comfortable for you. And here is where you can see we're really getting far here. You could set like the font of the text in case you don't like Arial. So the Comic Sans. It's around the time when yeah. So we basically have almost everything set up, but we need a way to die, and we also need a way to win. So we're gonna have to implement that. So we're gonna add layout in, just right click on layouts and add layout. Add an event sheet. Alright, this is going to be when you die. You could like put whatever you want here, make your own game over screen, but I'm just gonna, yeah, let's do this. I'm just gonna do this, but you could like put whatever you want here as your game over screen. Basically, if the player's radius touches 3D shape, Mr. Teacher Guy, if radius touches Mr. Teacher Guy and Mr. Teacher Guy is all mad, then we're going to want to go to layout and go to game over. Now, we want the player to be able to try again, right? So go to event sheet 2, which is the event sheet of this layout, and on start of layout, wait however many seconds, like 2, and then go back into the game. So we could try again. Now let's test that out. I died. And I respawned. Now, of course, you could also make it go to the title screen or whatever. Or, if you want to, you could, like, make there a try again button, but I'll probably, like, get to that in another episode or whatever. So now we also need a way to win. I'm just gonna add like more orbs here. Just excuse me for a minute. Now you guys might notice that there's a lot of gray space, and also that I can't scroll down anymore. And this is because our layout is not big enough. So you're gonna want to make sure to just like make it as big as your map needs it to be. And see, now the whole black outline box is bigger. Yeah. Okay, so I pretty much like finished my map. It's small, but it's just an example. Now you might wonder, what if I want my fan game to be beatable? I want it to be beatable. Well, we could do that, but before we do that, first we're gonna want to make it so that our teacher guy goes faster with each collectible. You're probably gonna want this, so yeah. So that means that every time we collect an orb, we're gonna add to the speed value. And that's pretty much all we have to do, but you can change how much is added if you want. I'm just gonna make it like a nice 0.5. Now you might want it to be beatable, like you want to be able to get to the end, get all of them, get to the end, you know. So to do that, you're just gonna want to add 3D shape, and then this is gonna be the exit. So yeah, this is gonna be the exit. Man, that's an exit if I've ever seen one. Place this right here. Gonna be the exit. I'm gonna name it exit. Now what we're gonna do in event sheet 1 is when the player has all 5 orbs, or you know, when you collect all the collectibles, you know, just like make this value how many are in the game. When you collect all the stuff, when you collect all the stuff, what we're gonna want to do is add another condition. When the player, or like the pre-radius or whatever, hold on, pre-radius on collision with exit. Yeah, that's it. That's when we would win. Yes, we would add the action of when we win. So we're gonna create a new layout that's just gonna be the win screen. Add some text or something. You could put whatever you want here. And we're just gonna like make it go to win when we collide with the exit and we have all the orbs. So now let's test this sucker out. Oh my god. I died. Too bad I'm not very good at Bert. But it's probably because my mouse wasn't locked in. I must beat Bert's house. I must beat Bert and his machinations. Where's Bert? Oh. I must beat Bert. I must beat Bert. Oh, I'm gonna escape. I won. Okay, yeah, so you might have noticed Bert wasn't really going anywhere, and it's because of the fact that the doors are solid, meaning that he can't go through them either. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna edit the pathfinding and instead set the obstacles to custom. And on start of the layout, duty shape, add add obstacle, and then we're gonna make it the wall. Add pathfinding obstacle, 3D shape 2, which is the walls. You're just gonna like add pathfinding obstacle and then the wall. Go to your teacher, add pathfinding obstacle, and make it the wall. Okay? That's all I gotta do. And now he should be able to go through doors. So I'm gonna wait for him to pass through here. See? Now Bert isn't stupid anymore. He chasing me fast for real. I won. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the reason he didn't like chase me all the way is because I didn't make the layout big enough to make sure you do that. But yeah. I mean, I guess one more thing you could do is like make it so that you get all your stamina back whenever you collect one, which is like pretty simple to do. You just like set stamina to 100. Yeah. So this we've made some pretty good progress here. This works fine as a base. Next episode, we're probably gonna get into like items and stuff. If you wanna like make other characters, you just have to like basically do the whole pathfinding thing, like with Bert here. Except, I'll get to it in another episode. But for now, save your stuff. I'm gonna save this as Bert. Make sure to save your stuff. Alright? And yeah, this is pretty much what we've done here. I guess if you want to, you could like make a title screen. How about this? Bert's house. Scary. Button. And then button on clicked. Go to layout 1. First layout is title. And now Bert's house. Scary. Okay. And you know, like I said, you can make this go to the title screen instead if you want to. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That is pretty much about gonna do it for this tutorial. I know I delayed this for way longer than I should have, and no one's gonna watch this now, but you know, peace out.